Yo, what's good everyone? Hope you all had a good Christmas. I was thinking we got a lot of Genshin characters throughout the year and a lot of them enabled some fun teams, so I thought I'd do this video showcasing my 10 favourites for the year. Definitely get involved in the conversation and drop some of your favourite teams for the year in the comments. It doesn't have to be 10, but let's keep the requirement that there's got to be at least one character released from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. I'm not going to include mavuika or Seat Lally because they don't release until 2025 in my time zone. Now I'm going to go chronological order, starting with the second half of 4.3, which came out January 9th. Chevreuse became our first overloaded unit. I'm a big fan because she made Dia more viable. As much as I love Dia's design, I, like a lot of people, was massively underwhelmed by her when she launched. She realistically had two teams, Reverse Melt, but I didn't have a Cryo DPS, and Mono Pyro with Kazuha, Xiangling and Bennett. Swap Dia out for Child though, and that was one of the strongest teams in the game, so it felt bad to use Dia. Chevreuse gave us this team with Raiden, Dia, Sarah and Chevreuse herself. The logic is to yo-yo between both Raiden and Dia's bursts. Both cover each other's downtime and use Sarah and Chevreuse in between for their buffs. What you're seeing on screen is C0 Raiden footage, but I've since obtained a C3 going for Chevreuse constellations. Never happened to me before, so I'll take it. And I'm telling you, the team gets even stronger if you have some investment in it. Obviously, like you're seeing on screen, it works with a C0 Raiden though. Dia is C1 here, but if you can get some more constellations for it, it'll get even better. This next team was similar to the Dia team in a way. I'm a big fan of Candace's design, but was underwhelmed with her kit on launch. There was just never any incentive to run her over Yelan or Xingqiu. I waited a long time for a unit to give her a viable team, and Xian Yun did that for her. Before Xilonen came out, I used to run Yelan in the flex slot. I've obviously since swapped her out for Xilonen holding 4-piece scroll. I'm still waiting for a Pyro off-fielder to apply enough Pyro that both Candace and Farina can vape. Until then, this seems strong enough. Every unit that comes out, I try and shoehorn them into a Candace team, but this is the one I keep coming back to. As a big fan of the Harbingers, I, like a lot of people, had been waiting a while for Arlecchino and she didn't disappoint. She works in Mono Pyro, Vape, Melt, and my personal favourite is Overloaded. Beidou's an often overlooked unit, but I'm going to continue to champion for her until the day the game ends, and this seems one where she genuinely shines. There's plenty of single target damage, AoE, a lot of energy with the Electro Resonance and then Chevreuse holding Favonia's Lance. Beidou gives Arlecchino a shield. You can even switch between units and pop Beidou's skill whenever you feel like it, because Arlecchino doesn't lose the infusion. At the time of making this video, we don't know what units are coming out in 5.4 yet, but if there are any Electro ones in there, I'll be giving them 4-piece scroll and throwing them in this team. Emily gave us another opportunity to use Dia. As an appreciator of burning before Emily came out, I was just waiting for a unit to bring it closer to the meta and she was it. I don't think Dia is in Emily's strongest teams, but there's more than enough damage in her that you can use it to beat endgame content. Arlecchino actually works well instead of Dia in this team, so I'd recommend trying it, but Dia's done enough to earn a second place on this list. I'm not sure if mavuika will be able to replace Xiangling in this one, but I'll definitely be giving it a go when 5.3 drops. This seems less experimental than some of the others you'll see on the list, but I thought I'd include it anyway because it's a unique way of playing. Genshin gets a lot of criticism for the character kits being lazy, and a lot of the time I feel like it's deserved. Mualani on the other hand is an example of a character they deserve praise for. Her playstyle has mini nukes, which is appreciated because that's not something I'm used to on my account. She has free-to-play options like the Natlan craftable catalyst, and you can even use a C0 Candace in place of Nahida if you don't have her. She'll give Mualani a normal attack damage bonus as well as HP from the Hydro Resonance. The only downside to this team is Xiangling being on 300 energy recharge. Once mavuika comes out tomorrow, I'm dropping Xiangling like your mama drops a dump truck on my face. This team's a bit more of an experimental one, but seriously, don't knock it till you try it. Kaniche is a burning unit. There isn't any Pyro in this team, so you could be forgiven for thinking it probably won't do anything, but it's way more powerful than you think. Farina, Yelan and Kaniche are all dealing big damage. It's just Kaniche won't be able to use his skill as often. Baiju on Deepwood makes Kaniche deal more. Xilonen on Scroll makes Farina and Yelan deal more. You can go for either depending on the content you're up against, but I found in this current Abyss, Xilonen works well with the Geo Skid Mark Wolf being in there. Even though it's not Kaniche's intended gameplay, I like it a lot in single target. As long as you're not up against Hydro or Dendro immune enemies, it clears just as fast as his burning teams anyway. We all know Nalu's a strong Bloom support, but what about the DPS side of the kit? It used to be that you could run Nalu and Farina for 2 DPSs, as well as the Hydro Resonance for HP, which both of their damage scales off. Kazuha would be in the flex slot for grouping in all of his buffs and shreds. Then for the sustain unit, we just had to go fuck ourselves. Zhongli was the best choice because he shredded the opponent's resistance to Hydro, but outside of that, not many were doing anything for the team's damage with him scaling off HP instead of attack. 36% resistance shred and 40% hydro damage from scroll were massive. What's more is that her healing's so good that, despite Farina applying bleed, your Nalu can still run Harbinger of Dawn and have a HP higher than 90% most of the time to get uptime on the passive. I released a video that goes more into depth on the team, but you don't need to watch it to see how good the team is. As you're seeing on screen, it's more than enough for endgame. Give it a go and let me know what you think. Despite her popularity, I was actually a little underwhelmed with Navia when she first released. Arguably her best team had both Bennett and Zhongli, with Xiangling taking the other spot, and it just felt boring. If you're a regular viewer here, you might be aware of the fact that I just prefer Hydro. Child was my first limited 5-star. Water's my favourite element in other games. Running Navia with Hydro felt underwhelming though. Shalonen changed that and made it so that Navia quickly became one of my most played units. Running this seems almost as comfortable as running a Nuvolet or Arlecchino team. I expected Shalonen to be good when we first saw her in the Natlan trailer, given the fact she was clearly one of the most hyped characters in there, but I didn't think she'd be this universal. Definitely my favourite support since Farina, and I'm hoping we get a lot more units like that throughout 2025. I finally got Hazo C6 this year, and when 5.2 dropped, we got a Roron who can hold 4-piece scroll effectively, but also electrocharge buffs. I've played different variations of this team with Xingqiu, Farina and Yelan in the Hydro slot, then swapped between Beidou and Fischl in the other Electro slot. I can't decide which is my favourite though. With teams like this where Hazo's a driver for electrocharge reactions, you just need to stack Elemental Mastery on him, which in my opinion makes him a lot easier to build for free-to-plays. You can get some Viridescent Venera pieces from the Artifact Strongbox, and you even have free-to-play weapon options. The Inazuma craftable Hakushin Ring would be my recommendation, with it giving a 20% elemental damage bonus to the team for Electro and all elements it reacts with. A Roron in this team feels better than the Fischl and Beidou pair. A Roron and Beidou together feels better in AoE, and a Roron and Fischl together feels better in single target. After dropping the Sucrose Taser team a long time ago in favour of stronger limited units, this Hazo team was a nice throwback. For the last team, I thought I'd include Chaska because I really like her gameplay and I think she's a little underrated. The downside of this team is that Bennett's circle restricts movement, which in my opinion is one of Chaska's strengths. Mavuika and Sealali will change this though. I don't know the calculations, but even if it deals a little less damage than this team, it won't be by much and it'll be worth it for the freedom of movement. I'm looking forward to seeing what other Natlan units we get because Chaska's flexible with the elements you can run her with. Okay, so they were my favourite 10 teams for the year. Don't forget to tell me some of yours in the comments. I dropped a video yesterday looking at 8 units buffed in 5.3 and I'm dropping videos with Mavuika and Sealali teams when 5.3 is out. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in them, and Happy New Year!